Has it ever been this bad? I mean, this is awful. I feel bad for Spurs fans genuinely because my goodness, what an awful loss, man. You know, I I was saying how important this game was, but I had faith in Spurs and probably foolishly so because Spurs have only won twice at home in the Prem this season, which is incredible. What an incredible stat. If you look at the table, like if you sort it by home, Spurs have won twice this season. That's ridiculous. Actually ridiculous. And now, if you look at the table, you're in 16th place, only 1 point off the relegation spot. And some of the now you got to start comparing schedules, right? Because West Ham have a tough game versus City, obviously who are in a title race. Forest versus Fulham, who are trying to fight for Conference League. Spurs are going up against Liverpool. So these are going to be some tough fixtures, and I don't know if any of them face each other, like directly, if you know what I mean. Let's see. I mean, Wolves are probably already gone, even though they're good now. Oh, here we go. So they got Forest. That's a direct relegation fight, and that's it, right? They don't have another West Ham game, so that's gonna be tough, man. But I think it's over. I really think it's over because when you watch this Spurs team, it's just they don't care. I think they don't care. And I was tweeting about this. I was like, the the amount of sales, right? Like you think about the good teams across, the last 10 seasons or so where they are so good that the rest of Europe comes in and ransacks the team, right? Monaco 2017, obviously Mbappe got bought, Bernardo Silva, Fabinho, Thomas Lamar, I'm probably forgetting a few names. Bakayoko, right? All these names got bought up on that team, right? Or that Ajax team, right? Frankie De Jong got bought, Mazraoui, etc. So, right, all these teams get bought because they're so good. Their players are so good, and they do a good job, right? This Spurs team sucks, and I think the same thing is gonna happen, right? And I think the players are almost playing for that because when you watch how they play, it's just so ugh, just disgusted. It looks like they don't care. And the appointment of Igor Tudor I thought was very weird. I thought it was a real sideways step. I thought didn't improve anything. And not that you were really gonna get a massive improvement anyway with the specific situation Spurs were in. You're like in February or so. There's only 4 months left in the season. What coach wants to come in and take over that really, right? So it was a tough situation, but I didn't think you had to, move on from Thomas Frank. I guess maybe he lost the locker room, but I don't think Igor Tudor has the locker room. He didn't even come in with it. You feel me? So I don't know, man. I didn't think Igor Tudor was necessarily the guy, but I don't really blame this on him. I think the players have given up, right? They just don't believe anymore. They don't believe in the club. They want to leave. You can't force a leave unless you get relegated, right? And if you get relegated, now the club, loses that Premier League money and they're forced to sell you. And they will have suitors, right? Guys like Van de Ven who made a stupid mistake today, by the way. Like what is that? Why are you pulling a guy in the box? Two hands? That's so clear as day. And we can actually talk about the game a little bit first before we get more deeper into this. But the performance today was awful. The performance just terrible to watch. And like, this club just continues to disappoint, man. I feel really bad if you're a Spurs fan. Palace were just on him, man. It was a total bloodbath. Even though Solanke scored, I think there was like a Archie Gray corner or something like that, and he fires it in, and Solanke finishes it. But like after that, I think even before that, actually, Palace had an offside goal right from Sarr, and then that stupid red card penalty from Van de Ven, and then Strand Larson at the end, and Sarr again. And it's like, what are we doing, man? And obviously they were down to 10 men, so it's tough to defend after that. But my goodness, it's rough. That's just rough. It's my I don't know, man. This is gonna be the biggest relegation ever, I think, right? And it's funny because last year Spurs Europa League champs, and now the next year you're almost going down to the championship. How does that work? Like The biggest decline I've ever seen. It's an incredible feat if I've ever seen one. The wrong kind of incredible though. But yeah, man, it just like I said before, I think the players they just don't believe anymore, and now it's more beneficial for them rather than fighting tooth and nail to keep this club up to move to a better situation. Obviously, the grass isn't always greener on the other side, but probably greener wherever Spurs is not, right? So yeah, it's tough, man. But I'm thinking about this squad. Obviously, guys like Xavi Simmons, guys like Van de Ven, Romero, even Vicario, Kulisevsky, Poro, all these guys are probably going to get sold, right? You're probably not going to recognize the 11 next season for Spurs, right? It's like maybe, guys like their young guys might stay, like Archie Gray and them, or, maybe Basuma and like, some bench guys, right? But even like guys like Richarlison, I expect to leave, right? And, Solanke, all these guys, Madison. So I don't know. I don't know what you do, man. I really don't know what you do. This is just sad. This is just so sad, man. My heart goes out to Spurs fans. You can this is a big turning point, but I really think it's over. I really like it's why I think it's over? It's because I think the entire footballing world is almost like wanting this to happen just because it's so incredible. Like how could you have this? You have $1 billion stadium, you have one of the richest, the highest valued squads in the world still, and you just disappoint to no end like this. This is ridiculous, man. And you can only blame Spurs for this really because you had to be smarter with your transfers. I mean, Conor Gallagher last ditch effort to I don't know strengthen the squad is weird. You know, I just it's rough. It's rough, man. It's rough. Everything they do feels wrong, right? It feels just totally the wrong step. Like the whole club is a mistake almost. And that seems kind of rash to say. I don't want to say stuff like that, but it's just like, man, like where did it all go wrong? There's just so much of it that's gone wrong. They lost Harry Kane a few years ago, never really replaced him. Obviously, they tried to get Solanke to replace him. He never stepped up. I don't know, man. I really don't. I just it's not just a one season. I think it's just been building, right? Cuz the last true successful Spurs season you could say was maybe 2022, right? They got into the UCL and I think they might have finished in the Europa League spot actually that season, but they got to the round of 16 and then they couldn't beat Milan that year. But it's like that's a standard for Spurs UCL knockouts. Or at least that's what it was. Now you're you don't know what the standard is for this club, man. You're looking at championship football, incredible. Just bad all around. Just bad all around, man. Hopefully, they can rebuild. They have the money to rebuild, I think. It's as bad as it looks, this could be, the start of like a sorely needed lesson where you go down and when you rebuild, you learn from all your mistakes and rebuild in a way smarter fashion. Obviously, all of the money you get from those player sales could also be put to good use. Even guys like Matisse Tell, Joao Polina, you might get a fee for. Pop Mate Sar, all these guys, you get a good fee for. So they got to build smartly, but I think it's it, man. And they can only blame themselves, really. They really can. In other news, Lens and Lyon had a banger match in the Coupe de France, man. I'm really excited to cover this. I'm really excited to watch this because, I think French football has been really, really good watch this year. The entertainment value has been incredible through French football and Ligue 1. And the Coupe de France is no joke either because yesterday, right, Marseille and Toulouse and Waneri skied his penalty, and that was hilarious. But it was also a great match, right? Marseille just can't defend a lead ever. Um, but let's talk about this because Lens were up 2-0, and it looked like Lyon were out of it, and it looked like Lens were getting back to the form that they had been all season, just beating everyone in Ligue 1, basically. But then Lyon found a way back into it. Nice header to the back post off for Yarmchuk. And then at the end, what a weird goal to concede. But basically, I think it was a cross to Tolisso. Tolisso saves it from going out of bounds and giving up a goal kick. and then just like a instinctual reflectiveness, reflect from Himbert to basically like lob it, kind of. I don't even know if it was really a lob. I guess it's a lob, but it was a weird, snatch at it, and he ends up lobbing it into the goal. Nobody could get it in front of the ball in time. It was very weird, but Lyon won't care, and that carries them the penalties on the last minute. And this penalty shootout was very good in terms of the penalties that guys took. They're very strong and fast. None of that, slow run up stuff. And yeah, unfortunately, Nusa Niakate misses his penalty for Lyon. And then for Lens, Florian Talvin, man. What year is it? 2018? Is it 2018, 2017, man? Florian Talvin goes and converts his penalty, and then he hits the. You guys know the Messi, right? The fingers in both ears, and yeah, celebrates with Lens. Lens are through to the next round. Great match. Yeah, this draw is going to be interesting because, now you're looking at the out of the four, you'd probably say Strasbourg and Lens are the two favorites. But if they get drawn up against each other, then you're saying the winner of the Coupe de France probably comes from that match. Nice can be tough to beat, even though they've had a very disastrous season otherwise. Same with Toulouse, especially Toulouse at home. Tough team to beat, but Toulouse has always been a tricky team in Liga, right? And I sometimes think Toulouse is similar to like the Palace of Liga. If you just don't know too much about Liga and you watch Premier League, that's how I feel about them. Sometimes they're just sticky. They stay around. They're not always great, but when they are, it's tough to beat. They're tough to beat, and yeah, this will be interesting to see how this draw shakes up. But Lens second in the league. They've been top of the league for so long. They should feel confident going into the rest of this competition. But also Strasbourg, they might have a shout too, man. If they're peaking at the right time, Diego Moreira and them guys, right? Panicelli, it's gonna be tough. I hope. My hope is a Lens Strasbourg final. I think that'll be the most entertaining final, especially the most high level final as well. But we'll see what happens, man. Coupe de France has been really good, even though PSG got knocked out. It's nice to see other teams really step up, except Marseille. But yeah, it's been a really fun competition to cover. And yeah, that was basically it today for the footy. Apparently Messi went to the White House today. Very interesting. Not gonna comment too much more on that, but yeah, you probably know how I feel about that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, man. Be sure to be on the lookout. PSG play tomorrow. Then I'm gonna do some round of 16 predictions for the UCL on the weekend. And yeah, until next time, it's been your boy Ollie Footy. We out.